Well, several of ETSU professor Dr. David Champoulion's peers voiced concerns about his behavior as far back as 2003, even recommending against tenure. But ETSU administrators recommended his tenure application anyway.
Yeah, Nate Morabito has made that latest discovery after sifting through more university records. As we wait for ETSU's current president to make his decision about the music professor's future, Nate talked to the university's former president about Dr. Champoulion's past.
Now, Dr. Champoulion's remained on administrative leave for 6 months now. He continues to collect his paycheck from ETSU, even though an internal investigation found he sexually harassed 2 faculty members and behaved inappropriately in front of faculty and students. Part of the reason the termination process is taking so long is because he's a tenured employee. ETSU records show the decision to grant him tenure was far from unanimous.
I think we've got the best and most respectful employees that you can hire.
Despite recent headlines, Dr. Brian Noland is quick to defend the people who work at ETSU.
This is a wonderful institution. Any place that employs 2,600 people is always going to have some elements that may not move in concert.
Public records show warning signs linked to one of those employees first surfaced nearly 14 years ago. In the midst of praise and letters of support, comments like these stand out in Dr. David Champoulion's tenure file. According to ETSU records, they are among just some of the reasons why 2 different tenure committees and the department chair all voted no when Dr. Champoulion's name came up for tenure in 2003. Even with that opposition, the College of Arts and Sciences interim dean supported the application, but in the process urged Dr. Champouillon to seriously work to address his colleagues' concerns. From there, he also secured the support of the vice president and president. When questioned about his decision to recommend tenure, President Emeritus Dr. Paul Stanton told us, at the time, David was really a liked and appreciated performer in the community. He was bringing in a fair amount of public support. He was bringing in some superb groups from the outside. He was, I think at that time, already a faculty senator. I certainly think there were signals being sent, but as much positive during that time as negative. So then when you get to the tenure position, it's a very significant point in time. It's a pivotal moment in their own job security situation. I don't think there was much I could have done in 2003 or 2004. Dr. Stanton says had Dr. Champouillon not secured tenure then, he would have lost his job within the next year. Per policy, the decision to recommend and grant tenure falls squarely on the shoulders of the president and the Tennessee Board of Regents. Nate Morabito, News Channel 11, in your corner.
Dr. Noland told us he's going to decide Dr. Champoulion's fate, quote, with due speed. Meanwhile, the longtime music professor denies the allegations against him. His attorney previously told us they intend to fight the allegations all the way.